Alright, for our next video, we're going to discuss things you can work on before you go to the range or before you go shooting for the first time. First and foremost, safety. You should be working on safety at all times, learning the four fundamentals of safety, um, and then go from there. But you always want to remain safe. These are things you can just do at your house. Save you some time before you go to the range. Safety. Pick a spot in your home where there's no kids, there's no dog, there's no wife, there's no husband, there's no boyfriend, whatever, and pick a safe direction. Facing an outside wall, not towards the neighbor's house necessarily, but somewhere. Find a safe direction for any gun handling you're gonna do. So find a room where no one's there, no one's gonna distract you, and then take your gun and get ready to start practicing. So this is no order necessarily, so we'll just go through things. So what you want to do is you want to keep your ammunition out of that room. Don't take your loaded magazines, don't take your ammo into that room. Completely leave ammo out of that room when you go to practice. You don't want to get it mixed up with anything. So one of the first things you can start doing is videos on them. Just start learning how to clear your firearm. This magazine's empty, gun is empty, but just your gun is gonna come either with the magazine in there or whatever. Learn where your magazine ejector is. Learn how to take the magazine out. Learn how to rack the slide. I mean, there's a bunch of videos on it if you're a woman or a man who just can't do it. Easiest way is just to pinch here, and instead of trying to rack back, push forward at the same time. So you're going to be pushing forward, and you can lock it back. So as you push forward, you're going to want to push up on the slide stop, slide release, whatever, debatable. So push up on that, and then lock your slide. Then you can start moving on to how to clear. Good way is you can look down in the chamber, make sure there's no ammo. Look down and just look around. Maybe put your finger. I wouldn't suggest putting your finger completely in there, but just look around, make sure there's no brass. And then with no ammo, I wouldn't suggest hammering down on that all day long. But if you want to do that, feel free. I just don't prefer to do that on an empty gun. So there's always that way to release the slide, or simply just pull back and it releases the slide, and then load back up. But those are things you can just learn your gun. Just learn your gun. These things you could do before you go to the range. Alright, so now that you learn how to clear your firearm, another thing you can move on to is if you didn't buy these the first time when you left, when you bought your gun, I do suggest you go out and buy these like on Amazon, or your gun store has them. They're snap caps, dummy rounds. There's a bunch of different makers. They make some that look like bullets. They're blue. I think they're called bees, and bees blues or whatever, and they have the weight of a real bullet. But nonetheless, these things are pennies, and you can buy packs of them. And I've given them out to people, but they represent a bullet. Make sure you get the right caliber for whatever gun. You don't want to be trying to jam a 40 cal and a 9 and then not be able to get it out. So you just get practice loading your mags. Make sure you have with the feed ramp, you're gonna, with the magazine ramp lip, whatever, you're gonna want to make sure you load the firearm properly, and the bullet's gonna always go away from the back end of it. So you can learn to start loading your magazine by hand. Realize that that's a pain in the ass, and then you can whip out your Maglula mag loader and actually learn how this works. Most of the time, people do usually put this on backwards. It's just the way it is. So your bullets are gonna come this way. You can see that. So you want to slide that over, push that in, push that down, put your bullets in, learn how that works. I do believe These do an unloading also. I think that's what that is right there for. You just put it on the back of your bullet and just shoot them back out. So that's one thing you could do is spend your time learning how to load and unload your magazines, not with live ammunition, but get the dummy rounds. Um, yeah, dummy rounds. So learn how to load and unload, and then so after you learn how to load your magazines properly, you can actually start dry firing with these, and you can move on to actually loading these into your firearm, and then you could even chamber them. So you can start chambering them, and then you can start getting them to see what it's like, how they eject, and then that should have loaded another one. And then you can start dry firing. You can start learning your trigger. So some people have a big deal about putting the dry firing their trigger without it hitting something, but they have barrel blockers. It's a piece of orange that goes into the barrel and it sticks out, and the firing pin hits that, and they got other stuff that go on the mags. If that's an option, if you want to spend that money, they're not real expensive, $10-12 if you want to get that in dry fire. It's just a pain in the ass putting it in there and pulling it out all the time. It's pretty sturdy, so it gets stuck. But after you learn how to load that up, you, like I said, just move on to dry fire. In a safe direction, you can learn your sights. Start, work on your grip, whatever, and then learn how your sights work. Start aligning them against the wall, equal height of the top, equal light on the sides, whatever. Learn your sights. You got an optic, learn your optic. There's videos on that, how to see through that. Pick a spot on the wall and look through the optic, stare at that spot, and then have the dot in the area behind you in your peripheral, whatever. But with your sights, you can learn your sights, and then after you learn how to line your sights, move on to your trigger. Learn how that trigger works. Learn what the take up is. Learn where it breaks, and you can hold it back, rack it a little bit, and then you can feel where the reset is. That's a long reset. But these are things you can be working on before you go to the gun shop, the firing range. You don't know exactly how the gun works. But load your magazines, chamber these. You could even keep ejecting them. I put the slide stop on. Every time you break that trigger, and then do another one. However you want to do it, but yeah, learn your trigger. Just something to do. If you have small targets, you can put targets up. If not, picture frame of whatever that's up, or find a little light switch. And again, in a safe direction, not to anybody else's house or to your kid's room or whatever. In a safe direction, no ammo, completely cleared, and just start learning your sights, your trigger, and go through clearing. So once you're done with your dry fire, and you've been loading and unloading, now you've already learned how to clear your weapon. So make sure you clear your gun, drop your magazine, and then just let it go. Ammo came out, whatever. Inspect it, whatever, and then get a little click. And now your dry fire session's over. Remove your dummy rounds, store those separate, and if you want to load your ammo back, then that's fine. But again, keep that ammo, keep your live ammo away from your dry fire area. But as far as the trigger, another thing you can learn a lot before you go to the range is how is your trigger pull. When not naturally, when you go shoot the first time, you may hit decent the first time, bang, and you're like, oh shit. So now after that, you've heard and you're a little scared, and you realize the recoil. So you start trying to anticipate the follow-up shot the next time. So next thing you know, your shots are going to be dipping way low, and you're wondering why you can't hit it. And it's not always going to be the gun. It's probably never going to be the gun. It's going to be you. You're already anticipating. So a good thing to do is start watching the front end of your gun as you start doing your trigger, and just come back, hold it to the wall, and then get ready to break. And you can learn a lot in dry fire and see if you're, when you go to break it, if you're dipping down like that. That's gonna be why your shots are hitting low and left. But these are things you can work on before you go to the range, in a safe environment with some dummy rounds. Things you can train before you go to the range and waste a bunch of ammo and get discouraged because you didn't hit nothing. Just work on that trigger. Just keep the front end aligned with something. Find something. If you got to put a picture frame or some tape on the wall, and you get your sights aligned with the top of that, when you break that trigger, make sure it stays aligned with whatever you're aiming, and you don't catch it dipping down, because that would be your fault. So again, these are just things that you can work on before you go to the range for the first time. Save yourself some time and ammunition. So if there's anything else that I may have left out, please feel free to let me know or suggest. What other things do you work on before you go to the range? Again, this can help you if you're been shooting a long time. Things to do so that when you do go, I dry fire a lot, so when I come out here, I don't waste time doing things that are gonna waste my time. So again, things you can work on before you go to the range. And I'll have another video up soon. Like I said, I'll try to do these once a week. But yeah, so the next video will probably be your first time at the range, what to do about that. So like I said, stay safe, keep that ammo out of your dry fire area, be 100% safe, keep that gun clear, no live ammo, safe direction, and work on these things before you go to the range the first time.